So I forget, of course, this equation. So it was, of course, earlier equation with these conditions and compressibility condition. So don't forget to write it. And also for the comment, I should say that there are also other control methods. Some are introduced by Littmann. So they are based more or less on the resolution of ill-posed problem, and they are quite interesting too. So you don't need HUM, or you don't need to prove some observability inequality for this method. And also you have the so-called flatness approach, which was introduced by Martin, Philippe Martin, Pierre Rouchon, and Béatrice Laroche. And okay, this method also gives quite good result for the heat equation. So okay, you have also other approach that may be interesting in some cases. Okay, so I introduce the controllability. Now I will focus on the stabilization problem, and I will connect the two notions. So what is stabilization? So I remind you that for the controllability, you want to connect 2 points. So typically when you have to park your car, you have to drive your car and to put it at the good place in some time t, so it's quite easy to understand. For the stabilization, you want to do something else. You want to approach asymptotically some point. So it looks weaker, but actually you want some control which depends only on the state, not on the time. So let us give some definition. I still consider arrow system, sigma AB. This is this system. And what we will do, okay, we will replace U by some function of Z. Okay, so we say definition. So this system is exponentially stabilizable if there exists some so-called control, some feedback function k, some operator k, which will be continuous from some space H with value in U, such that the system, so you replace U by K of Z. So you set U equal K of Z. So you obtain the system Z dot equal A of Z plus B K of Z. So this system is exponentially stable. Okay, so it means that you have some estimate like this. When you control Z at time t, and when you estimate this thing, it should be less than some constant exponential of minus mu t, where mu is strictly positive, time, of course, the initial condition. You want something like that for some constant C and mu that are positive. Okay? So you want to reach in some asymptotic way the origin, so you start from Z naught. Okay, and you will have something like this. You can turn around, okay, but you approach 0. But what is important is that U depend on Z at each time. U of t is k z of t. You have this relation. And why is it important? Is it important in practice? Because when you do some mistake, when you do a mistake when measuring z, actually you can absorb it thanks to this representation of u. And if you just have a function u which depends on t, as for the controllability, when you do some mistake on z, you will actually arrive far from zero. Okay? And so the stabilization is important in any engineering problem, actually. And so the more usual is the problem of the flight of an aircraft. You really have to stabilize the motion of the aircraft around the trajectory, otherwise you have some trouble. Okay, so of course, the two notions are connected. So in finite dimension, it is known for a very long time. And for linear system, okay, I will just give two typical results to connect, so the controllability and the stabilization. So the first one is due to Datko. It was proved in the 70s. I don't remember exactly the date. But it tells you that if your system is null controllable, then it is exponentially stabilizable. Okay, so you can apply it to the heat equation. And the heat equation, you can, of course, add some low-order terms. It will be null controllable, so stabilizable as well. And you can apply it to the wave equation, to the Schrödinger equation, so to most of the equation. And we have another result, actually, which was proved by several people, but I will just give a statement which is quite complete, and due to u. So assume that A star is minus S, that is, you have a skew joint operator. So this is okay for the wave equation or Schrödinger equation. Actually, you have the equivalence between the stabilization exponential and the controllability. So this system is exactly controllable in time t if and only if. So this is equivalent to the fact that it is null controllable as well. Controllable in time t, so that's the same thing actually. And it is equivalent to the fact that it is stabilizable exponentially. And finally, this is equivalent to the fact that you can be a little bit more precise. I mean, we can construct explicitly some operator k. So actually, for any operator S, which is some operator from U to U, which is self-adjoint and strictly positive, if you look at this system, so S B star Z, so what you just take, you take Q equal minus S B star, okay? So it is quite explicit. So this thing is exponentially stable. So what I say is that you can choose K of Z equal minus S B star of Z. Okay, so for all these reversible equations, actually, you have equivalence between the exact controllability, the null controllability, the exponential stabilizability. But of course, it's not the case for the heat equation. Huh? For the heat equation, you just can say this kind of thing, of course. And in finite dimension, if you consider so any matrix A and B, actually, the controllability implies the stabilizability, but the converse is false. So this should be said also, because it is important. So I mean that A is some matrix, and B too. So this system is controllable, implies that it is stabilizable, but the converse is false. Okay, this is one of the reasons for which actually the mathematicians focus on the controllability property, because a system which is controllable is stabilizable. So people focus on the controllability property, even if for application, actually, the stabilization is much more important. Okay. Okay, so now I can look at KdV. So let us start now the investigation of the control property of KdV. So I will just begin with KdV on a periodic domain. Okay, so for the reference, so this has been first investigated by David Russell and Bingyu Zhang, so in a series of papers. So in 1993, 1995, and 1997, 6, okay? And later on, so there is some work by Camille Laurent, myself, and Bingyu Zhang in 2010. Okay. Okay, so the system that we consider is the following one. So we look at the so-called Kordovec-Doris equation, written this way. And we should also consider some forcing term F. So it will be some internal control problem. And, okay, I just stress that we take periodic boundary condition. So it means that the value of u and all of its derivative up to order 2 is the same at 0 and 2 pi. Okay, so that's the periodic boundary condition. And, okay, you start from some initial state u0. Okay, so this problem was first investigated by David Russell and Bingyu Zhang. So we work on the torus, so T, which is for us, so R divided by 2pz. So we identify x and x plus 2 pi. And, okay, and so we can look at the problem actually on a circle like this. So KdV is a model for the propagation of waves in a canal. And so David Russell and Bingyu Zhang had in mind actually a sort of circular canal like this. Okay. So you have wave that propagates this way. You don't have any obstacle. And they wanted the mass of water to be conserved over time. And so, okay, so we impose a condition that we have the conservation of mass, so the integral of u is conserved over time. So conservation of mass, or if you want, of water, of mass. Okay, so they wanted to impose this condition. Well, of course, to obtain this, you have to impose some condition on your control. Otherwise, you will not have this kind of thing. And well, it's a very simple computation that you can make for a smooth NAO solution. And okay, this will result in a quite particular form for the control. Okay, so just simple computation. A formal computation, assuming that all is smooth. So you integrate in x in this equation, and so you obtain this thing. So when you integrate this term, you obtain 0 because all is periodic. When you integrate this term, you will again obtain 0, and of course you obtain at the end, so the integral of f. And what you have to impose, so, is that the integral of f is always 0. Does that? Okay? So we impose that the integral of f is 0 for any time. Well, of course, it's not so easy to impose this kind of condition. But, and of course, we will have another condition. We want the control to be supported in a small domain, otherwise there is nothing to do. So we impose this condition, and also the fact that the support of f is included in this thing, so where omega is the subdomain of the torus. Some open set, which may be as small as we want, actually. So how to do that? So they found a way to obtain this immediately. So you just have to introduce actually some operator just to state the problem. So introduce, so to do that, introduce, so a function g, which is sin infinity smooth and periodic, with, so 2 pi time, so the mean value of g, so actually it is just, so the integral of g, so this thing is 1. Okay, so in other words, the mean value is 1 over 2 pi. So you do that, and next, so with that, and also the fact that the support of G is contained in omega, you can make it. So you have your domain like this, you have small omega. Okay, of course, it's quite easy to obtain these kind of things. And finally, you set, so your control f is given this way. So it is what I call capital J of h, and this will be the function g of x time h of tx minus the integral between 0 and 2 pi of g of y h of t y dt. So I mean, okay, assume that I have some function h depending on t and x. This will be my new control. And for h, there will be absolutely no restriction. I mean no restriction for the support and no restriction for the mean. Okay? I take any function h, I introduce this function f, defined this way. So you multiply by g. Well, g is infinitely smooth, so of course you are still in L2. And you multiply by this quantity which depends only on time. Okay? So you have some bounded operator from L2 to L2. And okay, you see that of course the support of f is included in the support of g. So this condition is fulfilled. And if you compute the integral of that, it's quite easy to see that it is 0 because of this condition. Okay? The integral of g is 1, so you compute that, and okay, you have 0. And so with that, okay, you can consider any function h of t and x, which is continuous in time with value in L2, and okay. And so now the control problem is the following. You replace this thing by g of h, and the problem is given u0, u1 with the same mean value, is it possible to find a function h which drives the system from u0 to u1? That's the control problem that was investigated at this time. So control problem. So given u0, u1, for instance, in L2, but actually we should have result for in any sublet space Hs with s larger than 0. Of course, we have to assume that they have the same mean value. Does it exist? So a time t, and the control, which will be, well, say L2 in time with value in L2 of the torus, such that the solution of, donc, so you write your system like this. So x is in the torus. So this system satisfies, so u at time capital T is u1 of x. Okay, this is the issue. And so I insist, when you take this operator, you know that the mean value is okay, so that you have conservation of the mass, and at the same time, this thing is supported in small omega. Okay, now let us review the result. So the first obtained result for the linear equation, but I will not focus so much on that. I will just give the result for the nonlinear KdV equation. So there are more, essentially local results, actually. And I will give them. So theorem, so Russell-Zhang. So for any s larger than 0, for any time capital T, there exists a small number delta, such that if the initial state u0 in Hs is less than delta, and the same for the final state, then there exists a control, H will be L2 in time with value in Hs, such that, okay, the solution of this system, I will call it S, satisfies So the property you want at time capital T, so you attain U1. Okay, so that's a control result, a local control result. It is true, provided that the initial state and the final state are small enough, okay? And you can make it in any subspace HS. Okay, so that's the first result. And you have also some result for the stabilization. So I will give number. So still by the same authors. Of course, I forget to say that they have the same mean value. Otherwise, of course, it is not possible. So the second result tells you that that you have some stability if you put a good control feedback law. So let S equal 0 or S larger than 1. So there exists some constant M, delta, gamma that are all positive, such that if U0 in the space HS satisfies that the difference between U0 and its mean value is less than delta, then the solution U of the system, so we consider the KdV equation with the damping, and the damping is written this way. It is minus G star of U. So you have to compute the joint of the operator G. So this thing, so still in the torus, so I don't write that you have periodic boundary condition. So this thing is satisfies some estimate, some decay estimate, like this. So this estimate, U at time t minus the mean value of U0 in the HS norm is less than this constant, so M exponential of minus gamma t, U0 minus the mean value of U0. Okay? So it's a local controllability result, and it is a local stabilization result. Okay? You have some stabilization, and of course you don't stabilize around 0, but around the constant state with the same mean value. And if you want to stabilize around 0, you just have to assume that at the initial time, the mean value is 0. And actually, okay, if you don't want to impose that the mean value is conserved, you could do exactly the same analysis, actually. So you could drop this thing and this thing if you want. You have no difference, I think, for the proof. Well, I will just give some idea for the way to prove that. And actually, I will focus in the proof of the first result. So how to make it? So some idea in the proof of the first result. So how to make it? First, people have to work in Bourgain space because on the periodic framework in L2, you need to do this kind of analysis. So use of Bourgain space. For the moment, I don't want to talk too much about that. I will go back to that later on. And okay, so the first thing that you have to do is to prove that the linearized equation is controllable. And so you first look at the linear model, linear equation. So you drop the term UUX. Okay, you look at that, and you try to do the same. Okay, so to deal with that, as we are in dimension 1, we can use a classical tool like a moment, moment problem. So we can transform the control problem into a moment problem. And what is a moment problem? It's a problem for the Fourier coefficient, actually. I mean, so you look at Fourier series, you look at the Fourier coefficient, and okay, you just translate the problem in terms of the Fourier coefficient. And okay, now to solve your moment problem, you need actually some lemma, which is very important in this kind of problems. So I will just give you some statement of it. And so we have to introduce a bi-orthogonal family of exponential functions. Okay, and we need in-gam lemma. So what is in-gam lemma? So in-gam lemma actually tells you that you have the same Bessel inequality than you have in the classical Fourier framework if you have, again, values that are not regularly distributed on the line, actually. But of course, you have to impose some condition. So I will give you a statement which is not exactly the first statement of in-gam lemma proved in 1936. So this thing has been improved later on by several people. And I will just give the version in Boles-Lemrod, which is more recent, in the 90s, I don't know exactly. Okay, and so the formulation is quite simple, and it's a nice result, actually, and we use it a lot. So assume given, so let a family AK of complex number that we can take in this space, so the space of sequence that are integrable when you take the square. And we consider also a family of real number, UK, which fulfills two conditions. The first one tells you that, okay, you have some asymptotic gap. So what you do, you look at two successive frequencies, and okay, the difference has to be larger than some constant that I will denote by gamma. So this condition is true for any index k which is large enough. So I will call it the asymptotic gap, because spectral gap, because it is true only for the large value of k. And in addition to that, you need another condition which is true for any k, so it should be a uniform gap with a constant which of course will be different. So now this is for any k in Z. So this is the uniform gap, spectral gap. Okay? And with these two conditions, you can say that there exists some constant C1, C2, such that you can estimate from above and from below the Fourier series associated with this frequency. So the statement is if the time is large enough, actually larger than 2 pi divided by the asymptotic gap, this is important, not the uniform gap, you take only the asymptotic one, then there exists some constant C1, C2 that are positive, such that, and of course these constants do not depend of this family, such that you have the estimate you want, that is, okay, you estimate the L2 norm of this sort of Fourier series, but it is not a Fourier series because the frequencies are not uniformly placed on the line. So you just estimate this guy. What you can say, it is bounded from above and from below by the sum of the square of the Fourier coefficient. Okay? That's the property. And of course, when UK is K, that's the trivial case, in that case, you can apply the result, but you don't obtain something more than the Bessel estimate, actually. Okay. And so here, actually, we are interested in the KdV case, and for us, for our control problem, actually, mu k is k to the 3. So, of course, you have the uniform gap, but you have also an asymptotic gap which is as small as you want, because k plus 1 to the 3 minus k to the 3 is very large. So sorry, gamma is as large as you want. Sorry, and so as gamma is large, t may be as small as you want. Okay. So you just take rho is 1 and gamma as large as you want, and so t as small as we want. Okay, and so with that you can prove your control result in any given positive time capital T. And that's the point. That's crucial. Okay, so that's for the linear problem. So when you have the control result for the linear equation, how to deal with the nonlinear one? Actually, you just use the contraction principle, as people do when you are interested in the initial value problem. But you just have to modify it a little bit. So to deal with the nonlinear problem, so we use the contraction principle. And so we just need to introduce some operator for the control. And after, you search for a solution of your control problem as a fixed point of some map. So introduce a bounded operator phi. So from hs of t times hs of t with value into L2 of 0 t hs of t, which to the initial state and the terminal state associates the control h, that it is so phi of u0, u1, so such that the solution of so ut plus u3x equal j of phi of u0, u1, and u at time 0 equal u0. So the solution of this system reach u1 at time precisely capital T. Okay, you can introduce this because in the first step you prove that your linear control problem is solvable. And you have the existence of this thing. And actually, you can prove that you can construct it in such a way that it is continuous with respect to u0, u1. So you can make it. So now the fixed point. So for the nonlinear problem, we prove that Russell and Zhang prove that the map, so it's quite simple. It's just a modification of the map that you consider for the initial value problem. So there's a map that to you associate, I need some notation, so I will just write W of T is the group associated with KdV. So you have ST of, we'll use this minus 1, ST of U naught plus, so some integral term, ST minus tau of G of, so phi U naught, U1, plus some term omega that I will give later on, and plus the classical term corresponding to the nonlinear term. Okay, where so W is a term that takes into account the nonlinear term. So this thing is just the integral between 0 and capital T of S of capital T minus tau of ux of tau dx. So this thing is a function, a state in HS. Okay? So when you don't have any control, of course it's classical, and this is the way you have the classical maps that you introduce to prove the existence and uniqueness of a solution of the nonlinear problem. Okay, now you put the control. So what is this guy? So this thing is a perturbation due to the nonlinear term. So that's the contribution of the nonlinear term to the final state. You want to balance it. So what you do, so you have this term, so at time capital T, you want to cancel this term, so you just have to modify the final state that you want to reach. So instead of reaching Y1, you want to reach this thing. And if you have a fixed point of your map, you are done. It's quite easy to see that you will reach exactly U1 because you balance this term. Okay, that's just the argument. So this was for the controllability result. And now, okay, I will give the statement of what we did with Camille Laurent and Bingyu Zhang more recently. So firstly, we extended the result to a global result. So this is a result by Camille Laurent, myself, and Bingyu Zhang. And so we obtain the following result. Now we have a global result. I mean, we can consider any initial state and any terminal state. And we can, do the thing in a large time. So let S any non-negative real number given. Let R be positive. And we assume some mu in R given. Mu stands for the mean value which is concerned. So there exists a time t, which may be large, and the time depends on S, on R and on mu, such that if the initial and terminal state are in Hs and have the same mean value, which is mu, then, and of course, and are less than R, then there exists a control. So control H will be L2 in time with value in Hs, which drives the system from U0 to U1 in time t. Such that, the solution of the system S satisfies that U at time capital T is U1. Okay, so it's a global controllability result in the sense that there is no restriction on the magnitude in Hs of the initial state and the terminal state. But we need some time to do it. And so there is some open question actually in any of this kind of result, open question. Can we do the same in small time, in any time? For the linear problem, it is of course the case. For the nonlinear one, people don't know actually what happens. So it's some difficult question. For the moment, we don't have any answer for this issue. So that's the control result. So the next time I will give you some idea of the new ingredient we needed to prove it, because we need new idea actually. Propagation of compactness, propagation of regularity. So I will introduce this notion the next time. But to finish, so I will just give the stabilization result we obtain in the same paper. So the same authors. So you assume S given and mu given. So there exists some constant positive kappa, such that for any u not in Hs of t that has as mean value mu, the solution of, so you take a very simple feedback law. the same actually as in Liguiu Zhang and David Russell paper. So it is a minus G star of U, just this one. Okay, so you just take that. So the solution of these systems fulfills the following estimate. So again, you compare U to its mean value, which is the same as U0. And this thing is less than, actually, so some function which depend on the L2 norm of U0 minus the mean value. So you have some function of that. The function depends, of course, of S and mu as well. And you have exponential of minus kappa t. And finally, the difference between U naught and the mean value of U naught in HS. Okay? So you have this estimate, which is true for any initial state, not only for a small initial state. Okay, so this is the statement. Actually, to prove the global control result, we just need to prove it, because you can combine the global stabilization with the local controllability. Okay, so actually, what we prove is this thing, and from that, and the previous result of Russell and Zhang, we were able to prove this one. That's the point. And to prove that, so we need some new ingredient that I think I will introduce the next time, because now it's, we don't have enough time to do that. Okay, thank you. So I stop.